Joining us now, Alamogordo Tigers head football coach Dale Hooper. Coach, 5-0 in the 2015 season. You guys reached the halfway point perfect. Overall, last week's game, happy with the way the kids played?
I don't know if we were happy. I don't think the kids were happy. We gotta give them credit. Gadsden, they came out, they were dang sure ready to play. They
got another homecoming game. And pumped up for that.
Yeah, they had our place too. It was pretty funny. One of my kids from the All-Star game. It was pretty funny. But anyway, Gadsden came out and they were definitely ready to play. And I don't think we were firing on all cylinders, to be honest with you. We dropped balls that we normally don't drop, and Kyle missed balls. That first quarter, Kyle didn't have he just couldn't get nothing on that ball. He couldn't put no whip on it, and then so that going into that second quarter, he got over there and they really started throwing the ball on the sideline, and then we started looking a lot better in that second quarter. On that first quarter was a little rough, I thought, offensively on everyone's part, and then when he did hit balls, we dropped balls. We had that one punt, Carlton had the first down pretty easy and drops it right off his chest, and that was something we didn't want to do. Our goal every game is never to have to punt a ball and never be stopped on a fourth down, and because that's just might as well be a punt there. And we had two of those in that first quarter. We had a punt and a fourth down on that first drive. We and on that too. Probably wasn't the best call. My that second down wasn't a great call on my part. I knew they had loaded the box up, and that was kind of a wasted call. I wished I could have got that one back, and that ended up stopping us on that for the fourth down on that. So yeah.
Yeah, there seem to be a couple things. Gadsden, some of the big scoring plays. I mean, the one long touchdown was, their quarterback made a great play, I thought.
Oh man,
right in between
that ball was money, wasn't it? Yeah. I was impressed too because it happened right in front of me. I was like, man, I gotta give the kid credit. That was a heck of a ball, and because we had two kids breaking on it, and Gerber just eyed off his fingertips, missed that ball for a pick, and that's what happened. He jumped that pick, and he didn't get it, and that kid was behind him, and that was, he was the one supposed to be a deep man, and Gerber, and I remember he came off the sideline. Oh, he felt terrible because defense takes great pride in shutting people out, and Gerber's all, Coach, it'll never happen again. It will never happen again. And I was like, I know. It just, you can't, our kids, they got to know if they're going to break on a ball in front of someone to let someone behind them when they're the deep man, they got to make sure they make the play. And that was dang sure a learning experience for him. And I don't see that happening again. I really don't. I think it really upset our defense as a whole. That's for sure.
And I thought they disrupted the middle of the offensive line a little bit in terms of they got up the middle a little bit on.
They
you guys.
They did. They sometimes I don't know. You could have confidence sometimes in that and let a team know exactly what you're doing and what you're running to them. And at that first half, it hurt us a little bit because they knew exactly what we were running when we were running it, and then so again we made some changes, and you can see the difference in the second and the third quarter. But they were down. They were coming. There's no question about it. They had one linebacker I thought was a pretty good ball player, and he was dang sure causing a lot of havoc in there. He's a senior, and I went and shook his hand after the game. Made it special to find him, and because I was pretty impressed with his play, and he played pretty hard. And but I even with all that, I mean Hunter. Yeah, man.
Well, and you guys put up 64 points. I mean, it's really hard to. I mean, we're talking about these
absolutely.
little things in here. I mean, you score a lot. Alex Ramirez has a nice return for you guys and scores 4 touchdowns.
I think the deal is we look for perfection in everything we do, and I'm on the kids constantly. We take one play at a time. You be perfect on one play, and then we go. You be perfect on this play. You be perfect on this play, and we just want to concentrate for that play that we're working on. That one play, let's be perfect, and and our kids aren't satisfied unless they are. And so, of course, I'm going to critique them on every detail. It doesn't matter if we win a state championship by 60. It's still going to be, we're going to still come after because we want to be perfect in everything we do. And our kids know, they know how to read defenses now. They know where we're trying to get the ball. They know how to adjust their routes to get to those holes. And we expect perfection. And now, Did we? I think we dominated the game. Yeah, I think we did. I think our kids took care of what they needed to take care of. I don't think our focus was there. That's something we got to fix, And homecoming week with all the it's another one, a hard week to keep kids focused on what our priority is, and we'll see what happens though.
Yeah, and it's the mix. I mean, because as a coach and somebody who was a student and got to go through all the homecoming stuff, you want them to be able to enjoy that stuff just as much as anybody else.
Absolutely.
But when it gets down to business, you want them to be focused on the goal at hand. So
that's right. And I'm expecting a good practice today. We had a good quick practice yesterday. I mean, it wasn't quick. I guess it was a normal practice, but we had a good practice. It was nice and crisp. I thought offensively we looked pretty solid, and defense. That first defensive day, always we're still getting alignments. We're making sure people are in the right spots because we really want to put our defensive players in the right fits to stop whatever people are trying to do to us. And that's what Coach McComb and Coach Madden and Coach Dallas, that whole defensive staff, I can't say enough what they do. They do excellent job on trying to get fits on exactly what teams are trying to do. And our defense knows, they learn that. They do a lot of homework and they study that, and we work it a lot. And I think today we'll put the final, the cherry on top to make sure our defense is ready to play, and we'll have the right fits in where they need to be.
And worth pointing out the in-game adjustments the defensive side had to make last week as well, because they opened up in a spread and then started the second half. They went to a heavy offset eye.
Yeah, they do. They give you everything. They give you the whole kitchen. That's for sure.
Yeah. So to see those guys to have to move back to maybe a bigger line and things like that, it's it's been impressive on how well this defense has played throughout the year. And you pointed it out, with Jake being as upset about missing that interception. Right. Those guys they want to shut out everybody. Out there.
It wasn't no secret what they were doing. Our kids, our players on our defense knew that play. We knew what they were going to do from what keys we practiced during the week. We knew it was going to happen, and our kids were ready for it. We're excited. We're thinking this is a touchdown. We're going to pick this and go the other way, and it just didn't happen. And instead it goes the other way. And so that really got defense, especially when defense knew we were, and so it happens. Yeah.
Well, and I thought their quarterback played out of his mind on Friday night. That was, just looking at what he had done up to that point in the season.
No, best game he's ever played. Absolutely, that I've seen anyway. The kid really played well, and you got to hand it off to Gadsden. I my hat's off to them. They played tough the whole game. Until the very end. I went to put our ones back in. If I went to got back on that 3rd and 15, I didn't. And our thing is we didn't want to punt, so I rotated our ones back in and. Darn if they didn't leave Alex wide open. And Kyle seeing it, and I looked, I was like, darn, I really didn't want to score right then. I kind of wanted to keep working some number twos and stuff, but it happens, and I would never tell a player not to score, so that's what happens when they're in the game, and then that ended the game right there. So
yeah, and Gadsden, by no means, they've played such a tough schedule this year.
Oh, it's been brutal for them. And I'm telling you, Gadsden is not a bad team at all, and they're going to do well. Their district is pretty darn tough, but they're going to compete. And again, those kids never quit. And I was impressed with that. They never quit all the way till the end. We're hitting, almost 50 on them. They're still fighting every play. And what a class bunch of kids. They all came up, after we got our team prayer together and stuff, and they were shaking hands with all our kids and all our players were, it's nice. There's great kids everywhere, that's for sure.
Yeah. Another team out of that district you get this week, Deming comes into town. Deming has been
pretty good.
And they've always been kind of a salty group. Last year they gave you guys everything you could handle down there. Yep. And this is with the Urea kid and what they've got defensively, this is a talented group of players.
Well, they are. They're loaded. I wasn't expecting this, to be honest with you. I really wasn't. I knew Deming was going to be okay because they returned a lot of seniors this year, but they graduated Carlos, that nose guard they had last year, and I didn't expect it to be like it is right now. And obviously I've got a lot of film on them now, and we've been breaking it down for the last 2 weeks, and they're pretty salty. And our kids, they know that our team, it's not going to be no surprise. Our team knows that we've got to play football. And the last year, I think we pulled out the starters probably a little too early in that game. It kind of let them back in, and when we pulled out a couple players, and that hurt us, and we will never do that again. We can never underestimate that team, Deming, and because they're a well coached team. And the one thing I noticed about Deming, all their kids. Usually I'll go into games and you try to find that one kid don't like that contact, and you can usually find one or two kids that they don't like a whole lot of contact, and that's when you let Hunter or someone have fun with them. And but yeah, no, they
doesn't seem like there's very many of those kids on that.
Not on that
side.
Deming team.
Right.
They all like contact, that's for sure. And so our kids are going to be strapped up, ready to play, and it's our homecoming too. And yeah, our kids are ready. I don't know. I can see it. We're going to be ready. We just got to keep our focus, and that's been our topic all week: is focus, and one play at a time.
Yeah, and I think that's a challenge more than anything else when you have it, starting with the offensive side, when you feel like you can kind of have your way, and when you're out there in the field, being able to maybe not necessarily get overconfident, but to focus on the things you need to focus on. And that's, one of the big tasks of the coaching staff, right?
Oh, it is. It is. That when we didn't score on that first drive, that was kind of probably a little bit of confidence, overconfidence on my part right there. We shouldn't have. There's no way we should have not scored in that first drive, and because we do have a pretty potent offense, and I felt pretty confident. Like in the last game, I knew what I can call to get first downs and stuff, but I'm still trying to work other things that need to prepare. I needed to work some things I need for this week and for Artesia, and so I kept working at it. But when it came down to it, I knew what plays I had to call to make sure I moved the chains, and so it's just. Our kids knew that, and sometimes that hurts our rhythm a little bit too. Instead of just trying to go out there, but again, we're in it for the long haul. Our goal is still to win that district title and win that state title. So if I would have just ran the 3-4 plays that I knew they couldn't stop, I don't think we'd be better this week for that. So.
Yeah, you're trying to work some things in there. I think we can definitely understand that.
Yep.
Defensively, what do you guys expect from them offensively? I know Uriah is a big part of what they're going to do.
He's pretty good, but they moved him to running back, and now he's their quarterback. He's been their quarterback for a while, and I don't know if he'll play quarterback or running back. Last game he played running back a lot. I don't know why. But I guess I do know why. They want the ball in his hands, and if they're going to run the ball, then I would understand. They want the ball in that kid's hands. But they're not a one-man show. They got 3 or 4 kids there that can flat out run, and they run tough too. And their old line, they're a pretty good team. They really are. I think offensively and defensively. I know our defense. Our defense will have to be ready to play football this week. That's for sure. All our linebackers, and they got to be on their toes. And I think that giving up 14 last week really put a chip on our defensive shoulders right now. It did. They're so mad about that, and I love it. I love to see them. They're not a happy group of kids right now, and they wanted that shutout pretty bad, and they didn't get it, and they're not happy about it. And I like that. I like that they have an attitude. I like that our linebackers and our D line will step up and tell each other that it's not acceptable. And it's the same thing with offense. If we punt or if we get stopped on a 4th down, it's not acceptable. It's not. Our offense is better than that, and we got to make sure that don't ever happen.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I think that again with this team, the expectations are so high, just from themselves, not necessarily from the community and everybody else looking at them. I think that's what's great from that group is that they do have that high expectation of themselves.
Right.
Every game.
You've seen it this summer. It hasn't changed. I'm with you on that. I do. And people say, well, you got to keep their heads down and stuff like that. It's not. It's confidence in what they're doing. And you talk about a team that believes in what I'm trying to put out there on that field. They believe in me as much as I believe in them, and we just, we got to see what happens. I'm excited about this Friday. I'm excited to see all the fans, the people come out to support our kids, and it ought to be a great game. It ought to be a great game, and I don't see a game ending early. I think this is going to be a 4-quarter game. We're going to have to fight for this game, so.
And you're okay with that. You want to have these guys play some more 4-quarter games before the end of the year,
for sure. Now, obviously, you don't tell kids not. We want to go at them.
Yeah, you guys want to do that every game.
But when you're playing teams of this, again, Deming's they're a pretty talented group of kids, and they got a lot of talent. That's all I can say. And people, when they come watch, they're going to see that, and but they're also going to see our kids that, pretty special to group of kids.
And then, it's one of those, again, trying to keep focused on this, just like going into the Mayfield game with Artesia next week. That's a challenge, too, for you.
It is. I think a little different, though, because, I think the kids, they know Artesia's coming up, and like our kids did in Highland, they knew Mayfield was coming up. And but I think the difference is now they know Deming's pretty darn good. And so they're not going to, they're trying to keep focused on our game this week. And that's been our topic all week. And hopefully today we have a pretty solid practice, and I'm suspecting we're going to have pretty good practice today.
And also winning your homecoming. Every senior wants to win their homecoming.
Oh man, that's a given. Yes, and it just happened to be Deming this year. If that's that time, but it's that rotation. So just like next week, I think we're Artesia's. So
I've been so many people's homecomings this year.
We will. And hopefully we can clean house. And our goal is to win them all. So we'll see how many homecomings we can win this year. That would be great.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit of a notch. Something that you can feel good about at the end of the season if you guys win everybody else's homecoming.
Yeah, that would be pretty great. That would be great. That's for sure.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Hey, thank you.